Okay guys, pay attention to our missing girls and kids, of course. Please guys, subscribe and like right now so you don't forget. Also, hit that notification bell if you would like notifications whenever we have new uploads. So, hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. I know right now we all been locked up with that COVID. It's been hard, hasn't it? But we're going to get through this. You guys can do it. Right now, we're going to try to help you get through it by keeping this story fresh. So we're on part 11. This is the timeline. We're continuing that, but I want to go over something before we continue the timeline. So here you can see I kind of started marking some of the dates that I find that are very important dates that might lead to helping, well, to help figure out where these kids are that are missing. So that's JJ. He's still missing. And then we have Tyler Ryan. She was only 17. She's also missing. So, I mean, we hear that the babysitter and everything are saying that Lori called off, you know, her services and things like that. And it just seems odd. But we do know that Chad and Lori were getting married in November 5th. Or on November 5th. Sorry, guys. I get tongue twisted a lot. So if I make a mistake on here, unless it's a serious mistake, don't worry about it. So a few people are saying they're so confused as to how all these people fit. And especially since we keep throwing new additions to the story, new names. And one of those is going to be involved with Lori. So here you can see we have Lori and Charles Vallow. The whole story is connected through these two. Over here you can see this is Stacy. This is Lori's sister. She passed away with diabetic shock. And guess who was there? Alex Cox, which is Stacy's brother and Lori's brother. They're all siblings. He supposedly, this is what we're hearing. I don't have anything to back that up right now. Just sharing what I know. He was there when she supposedly collapsed and passed away of what they said was a diabetic shock. It is also said that there's a possibility that Alex Cox, her own brother, while she was deceased in this home, he spent money on her card. So she is the first one to pass away in a story that kind of, raises some suspicions. Okay, so now I want to talk real quick about Joseph Ryan so you guys can see the connection. So Lori Vallow was married to Joseph Ryan for a period of time, and they went through a long, drawn-out custody battle for their daughter, Tylee, here. And during those battles, Alex Cox told a friend that he was going to head to Texas because he needed to take care of a family issue. And it was only a few days later, and Alex Cox was chasing Joseph Ryan with a taser gun. He actually hit him. Joseph Ryan was able to escape, and this happened in a parking lot while he's leaving court. But about 9 or 10 years later, after Alex admitted that he was trying to kill him, they find Joseph Ryan deceased in his apartment, and they say it was a heart attack. So now we have two people involved with this bunch now deceased. So at some point, which we're not covering details right here, guys, Lori and Charles Vallow, they decide they're going to go through a divorce while Charles files for divorce. They go back and forth. And one day, Alex Cox shows up to Lori Vallow's home. The kids were there, Tylee and JJ, and Alex Cox was there as well, and he shoots Charles in self-defense. So now we have 3 gone. Sometime right before all this divorce started, Lori had met this guy, Chad Daybell. He is an author, a doomsday author, and he's married to Tammy Daybell. Also, you can see Melanie below. She is married to Melanie Boudreaux. Melanie is Lori's niece. And around October 2nd, Alex Cox, they believe, had actually shot at Melanie Boudreaux's Tesla. And, we've seen the pictures of that and everything. It's only about a week later, and Tammy Daybell, Chad Daybell's wife, says she too had somebody that looked like they had a paintball gun pointed at her. Pulled the trigger, but nothing come out of it. And she was in her driveway unloading groceries. Brandon Boudreaux goes into hiding with his children, but Tammy didn't think nothing of it. So there's a night where Tammy tells her family, she's not feeling well. She has a coughing issue. She goes to bed, but she never wakes up the next morning. They throw a funeral together for her, and Chad fills out her obituary. But you have to read that, guys. It's pretty sad. So now you have Stacy, Joseph Ryan, Charles Vallow, Tammy Daybell, and an attempt on Brandon in this period of time. So Lori and Chad, now that their spouses are gone, in a very short period, just a few weeks after Tammy Daybell has passed away, Lori and Chad are in Hawaii, get married November 5th. November 26th, the Woodcocks, the grandparents of J.J. Vallow, this little guy here that is missing still, is very concerned as to what they haven't heard from J.J., so they asked the police to do a wellness check. It's at this point that things start to go crazy, okay, guys? Because it's December, I think it's December 12th. I don't have those notes in front of me. Alex Cox is deceased, found in his own body fluids. Okay, guys, now look very close at this. So what you see is there's only four people remaining. You have Lori down on the left. You have Colby, which is Lori's oldest son. We haven't talked much about him. I really don't like to say too much about him. And then you have Chad Daybell on the top right. And below him, you have Melanie Boudreaux. All these people are okay. But I'm telling you guys, I'm hoping that Melanie, I know she knows her kids are at risk of her not seeing them again and things like that. So that might be a reason to lie. And at that point, that's where the police need to give her a reason to talk and secure her safety for what means most for her. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and continue on this timeline. And where we left off was, was the end of October. Tammy Daybell had already passed away, and it was very suspicious of how she passed away. Some people are, guessing it could be poison. But police have still not released her autopsy results. Just leaving us all in limbo, and I'm sure that's with good reason. So as long as they serve justice. So we have to believe in these investigators that they're going to be able to bring justice for all of these people. So we're moving into November of 2019. We know that Lori had purchased a ring before Tammy Daybell even passed away, showing that she had signs of preparing for marriage to Chad Daybell before even Tammy was gone. Switching environments on you guys, sorry. So, does Chad know about this? Or is this all completely Lori? The fact that Chad Daybell is supporting Lori in this time tells me that Chad Daybell knew everything that was going on and is in support of Lori. Because if he didn't know, and all this evidence that's surfacing right now is very shocking. It also is very evident what is going on around her. He would wake up. He's smart enough to wake up. So this tells me that Chad Daybell, this is my opinion, guys, that he knows everything that's going on and took part. So what we're trying to figure out is, whether Lori is the main person involved with this and Chad Daybell's just along for the ride, or if Chad Daybell is the main what I would call the Charles Manson in this case. So she's been picking up Chad Daybell's books, been reading them, and she's already a crazy narcissist, right? She's narcissist. There's no doubt about it. She likes the spotlight. And did she believe all these things with the dark souls, the zombies possessing the people she loves, that most likely Chad Daybell is pushing into her head? I mean, we've already heard mention of somebody saying that the kids were possessed. They were zombies. They had a dark entity taking over their souls. And what exactly does this mean? Well, they're taking it to extremes because, okay, the only way to get rid of the zombies, we learned, is through death. And they already believe now that when you die, you don't actually die. You go into this probation period, or this probation jail. We've learned that already. And they get a second chance at life. Now we got to figure out, is Lori thinking that these kids have a better chance if they were no longer here? Because we don't know where they're at or what happened. But what is she thinking? We know that Charles is gone. We know a few other people are gone. So she thinks that, they can come back. It's no big deal when you die. Or is Chad using her to get rid of the children? Or does he believe this? That's just something we don't know right now. But you got to know that, there was an attempt on Brandon's life. Did they do that out of love? Or did they do it out of money? So we hear that there's an insurance policy involved. And then it's hard to believe that she had anything good in her heart since with Charles Vallow. He had a $1 million life insurance policy that she was trying to get her hands on. And, he died as well. So there's some dirty going on, definitely. This isn't just a mental thing or brainwashing. So, and I really truly believe at this point that Chad and Lori both are working together to get their hands on big lumps of easy money. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into November. Somewhere in this time, Lori is mentioning a book. She wants to write a book. So maybe we understand what Chad Daybell's use is to her after all. He's going to make her pretty famous, and at least in one niche. This really gives Lori the opportunity to shed light on herself in a new way. She can sell the world of her newly acquired talents and visionary abilities, her healer. She's a healer. Now she would be a book writer, a prophet, a god, and one of the leaders of the firstborn. Lori seems to seek out men who are useful to her. I look forward to the time court comes and we hear the details on this, but until then, all we can do is really speculate, right? So, now remember, not long ago, Charles Vallow was confronting Lori about the emails that he found, and she blamed him. She blamed her brother Adam and her niece's husband Brandon. So according to the people that know her the best, they just say this is more of her, either she's manipulating or her, taking things way out of proportion. After Tammy Daybell passed away, guys, I want to make sure I stick this in. This is in October of 2019 as well. Julie Rose said that, which was a friend of Chad at one point, but at this point they're not really talking too much. She said that she talked to Chad's daughter, Emma. They had a 40-minute conversation. She said that, Emma answered the phone just sobbing uncontrollably. Julie said even though her and Chad went their separate ways, that she at least was kind of still close with his kids. Julie also believes that he brainwashed his children. And Julie also believes that Chad was pretty much acting selfish. The reason why she said that is where we're going into November. I don't know where to stick this because sometimes you have to hop back and forth with the story the way things come to us. Julie mentions the fact that the kids had to deal with the aftermath of what, Chad and Lori, this trouble that they created. This means that the kids had to deal with the warrants and the FBI raiding them and the police destroying their home while they had a great time getting married in Hawaii and taking photos of holding hands and, cuddling and kissing. Meanwhile, the children lost their mother in a devastating way. They haven't even had time to process this. And their parent is totally taken off for lust to ignore the children. And sometimes I wonder, he is not a parent of the year, that's for sure. But I wonder if he ever told the kids about his visions and his predictions of his late wife's death. Now, guys, I know it's been a while since I've had this addition to our series here on the timeline. Don't forget, Chad Daybell, if I can speak right, Daybell received a lump sum check when Tammy passed away of over $400,000. Now, somewhere in this period, I'm not certain where it fits in, there is talk that, that Tylee also passed away. And there's also some point Chad told other witnesses that Lori had no minor children. So around November 1st, police and detectives are starting to catch on to this very strange incidents that are going on around them. And that's including, the fact that Lori Vallow had this Jeep that is, suspected of being part of an alleged attempt murder in October of Brandon Boudreaux. Brandon says that he witnessed the Jeep and that he recognized it as the Jeep that Tylee usually drove. Brandon said that he noticed that the man inside this Jeep had a rifle with a silencer that come out the rear window of the Jeep, and that his vehicle was shot once in the driver's door frame, which we've seen pictures of. This can be found in the probable cause affidavit. Now, I want to say, in case I forget, that Jeep did end up being seized in November. So another thing that was really quite important is the fact that police said it was significant that the vehicle Tylee regularly drove was still in Rexburg nearly 2 months after the last known sighting of Tylee. Now, what Lori doesn't realize is on November 2019, the Gilbert detectives began an intermittent surveillance of Lori. And this is while investigating the attempted murder and drive-by of Brandon. Now, let's not forget that Melanie Boudreaux is with her uncle Alex Cox. And Brandon said this really increased the anxiety for him and his kids. So he's having to go into hiding. Now, Melanie has packed up a U-Haul and she's moving to live with Lori. And as well as Alex Cox is living in that same complex. But she doesn't realize that there's a private investigator watching her, and they catch her, of course, like we said in the last one, dumping the kids' toys out there and all these things that should have been pretty meaningful to a mother, and just kind of abandoning Brandon and the children. So November 4th of 2019, Melanie and Alex Cox arrive in Rexburg, Idaho. So this is witnessed by Robertson, which is the hired investigator by Brandon Boudreaux. So November 5th of 2019. It's only been a few weeks since Tammy passed away, and Chad Daybell is married to Lori Vallow in a beach ceremony in Kauai, Hawaii. So the couple is out there on the beach. They've taken over 600 photos in 45 minutes. And there is absolutely no family, no friends, nobody is there, no JJ, and no Tylee, most of all, which is very concerning. So this marriage has taken place, and it's very private. So they're surrounded in these flower petals that are shaped in a heart, and the husband and wife, which is Chad, is seen playing a ukulele as Lori smiles. Lori can be seen doing the hula dance right beside him. And not only that, guys, Lori Vallow is sporting that malachite ring. Now, I do want to mention somewhere, in here as well, one of the friends of Daybell So she had a conversation with one of the sons. She asked that they not use her name, but I'm pretty certain that it's most likely Julie. So what's really concerning is the fact that how Lori and Chad Daybell, when they were on this beach, they were, so happy after such devastating things happened in their lives. Now, guys, they were wearing all white, so they were matching. It was just the picture perfect day, it appeared, for Lori. Anyway, according to a few sources, Chad informed family members that he had remarried. He even went as far as to contact Tammy's family members. According to them, he told them that they would never visit them in Utah. He told the family that he was in Hawaii and told his parents that they were free to visit him. According to some people, though, involved in his life, they said no one knew Chad planned to remarry, and family members were in disbelief that he would ever remarry, especially since it was 2 weeks after his wife's death. I mean, what the heck? So there's different articles coming out saying, different things are happening. So we're getting bits and pieces. And some of the things that Chad tells his parents is that Lori has no minor children. In some articles, it says that she claims that she was an empty nester. Now, Chad also tells his sister-in-law which is Tammy's sister, that Lori has no juvenile children. So there you go. Chad is a big liar. Lori's a big fat liar. So what the heck is going on? What's the purpose of lying? Moving on to November 7th of 2019, the newlyweds, Lori and Chad, show up at a house with a room for rent on the island of Kauai. According to the owner, she said that Chad told her, well, according to Chad, let's see, I lost my spot there, sorry. They said that they waited all day for God to tell them which house to go to, and he told them to come to mine, the homeowner said. She said they were like two teenagers that had just been set free. They were just giddy. Anyway, when Chad fills out a rental application, he's stating that his monthly income is $30,000 and that he is the author and owner of Spring Creek Book Company. Sorry, guys, for that noise. So in this email, he also gives a move-in date of November 9th. He also lists Lori Daybell as his wife. So while Lori and Chad are telling people this crock of bull, Kay Woodcock is on Charles' computer collecting any information she can get her hands on, especially when it comes to Lori. She's trying to figure out where the heck the kids are. So Kay is in Louisiana. She's got Charles' computer. She says she spends 12 hours without a break. It is absolutely because of her that they found some of the stuff that they did that would help point out the truth of what is going on between Chad and Lori. So during that 12-hour search, she actually found Lori and her purchase of the wedding ring she wore in those wedding pictures. She bought this on Amazon. And guys, this wedding ring, as we know, was purchased in the very beginning of October. So it was before Tammy passed away. It's very odd. Anyways, Kay says she went through every email and every account. She was able to do this because she, knew all of Charles' favorite passwords. And basically, usually consisted of 3 different ones he used. But at the time she's searching on this computer, and Lori and them are in Hawaii living it up, she has no idea that they even got married. But thank God Kay found what she did. I'm sure when she was looking at that ring, she was starting to kind of put it together. But by the time she put it together, it was too late. It was all the search history she found and these purchases that were made by Lori under Charles. That she gave all this information to the law enforcement. And they were able to actually also get into all this information their own way, she said. Kay does an interview way later when she tells us about this, and she says that Lori was short-sighted to think the emails, etc., were not traceable. She didn't get that kind of stuff. She also mentions in that interview, quote, She had heard about the light and dark spirits, end quote. And Kay said she had heard about this stuff before Brandon shared what he knew about zombies. She said, quote, I couldn't explain it back to you if I tried, end quote. So around November 12th of 2019, a few days after Chad's November 7th rental application, the homeowner reads Tammy Daybell's obituary and feels like something is wrong somehow. She basically shared with us that she asked Chad Daybell about his wife's death. And Chad texted her back and said, hi, so-and-so. I don't have her name. I'm sorry, guys. Tammy's passing was such a shock. I woke up that morning and she had clearly been dead a couple of hours. But she had such a peaceful look on her face. At her burial, I felt her tell me that she was happy and already busy helping our family on the other side of the veil. I felt like she helped me reconnect with Lori so quickly. And it has actually helped my children move forward, end quote. So clearly you can see he's using religion, goodness, kindness to manipulate others. The woman that was renting the room to Chad Daybell said she asked him, well, first she said, oh wow. Then she said, did the coroner say what was the cause? So you and Lori knew each other already? And according to this one article, which was on Fox 10 Phoenix, after that, Chad changed his mind about renting from her. So obviously, God was trying to get him to tell her the truth if he led him there. So, which he didn't do. Anyways, also in November, Chad is released from his calling as an executive secretary to the bishop of the LDS Church Ward in Idaho. November 12th, 2019, approximately around 6 p.m., documents say that Lori's niece, Melanie, trespassed onto the property of her in-laws in American Fork, Utah. Melanie came to look for her husband, Brandon Boudreaux, and their kids. So the kids were at Brandon's parents' house, and they took the kids upstairs. And according to Brandon Boudreaux, he told Melanie that she could not be there. So Leo called Melanie Boudreaux on the phone, and she claimed that Brandon Boudreaux kidnapped her kids and that she hadn't seen them for over a month. Anyways, the LEO, which is the police department in the area, told Melanie Boudreaux that she could face criminal charges for just trespassing. And well, that certainly did happen. Melanie Boudreaux was arrested after allegedly trespassing at Brandon's father's home in American Fork, Utah. And you can listen to that 911 call obtained by KTSU. So you have to look that up. I don't have it right now, guys. I can only collect so much at once. Now, according to a few articles, Melanie Boudreaux was actually released shortly after. Now, according to this article, on November 14th of 2019, Lori's brother Alex Cox drives their niece Melanie Boudreaux back to Brandon Boudreaux's parents' home in a 2020 Kia. And so Brandon Boudreaux's parents end up calling 911 to report that Melanie Boudreaux was at their house once again, ringing the doorbell and banging on the door and yelling. She's seen going into the garage, guys. Now, this is very persistent. It's very kind of alarming the way that she's handling this. So this is something you should probably take note of. Another thing that you should take note of is the fact that Alex Cox is there and she feels kind of, like she's God when she's around him. So the family likes to have Alex Cox there for altercations. So again, like she's there, she's yelling and banging on the door. She's seen going into the garage, and then Brandon Boudreaux's father yells, quote, "Get out of my house. The police are on their way. Get away from my door now," end quote. So could you imagine going through this? I mean, so when they called the 911 operator, they're having to tell them, why she's there. She said, he says, quote, "Somebody tried to kill my son 3 weeks ago, and we believe that she is involved in it," end quote. The police say that they found Melanie Boudreaux coming out of the garage when they arrived on the scene. And so Brandon's family say that Melanie Boudreaux brought a court order saying that she could take the children. When this was happening, Brandon was actually in Arizona, and so police cited her for criminal trespassing and told her to leave the property or she would be taken into custody once again. It wasn't that long afterwards that police found they later found a cause for domestic violence and enhancement and determined that Melanie could be arrested. Melanie actually turned herself into the police and was booked into the Utah County Jail for a misdemeanor. Later, she was released on a $2,500 bail, and pretty much that same day. And even, which is odd because, Alex was evicted. He didn't seem to have a job or anything. He posted, close to $2,000 on that bail. So anyways, this was the Arizona Republic, Utah County. Now, I want to make sure, guys, that I mention this. So sometime mid-November 2019, Chad and Lori returned to Rexburg after their Kauai honeymoon. They lived together in a townhouse Lori rented back in September. So again, JJ's grandparents, the Woodcocks, they have no idea about Lori's husbands, nor do they know that Lori had moved to Rexburg, Idaho. Kay is actually still worried about JJ and has trouble sleeping. So approximately around November 19th of 2019, about a week before conducting a welfare check on JJ and Tylee, the police officer came to, I don't know their name. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to look it up. But anyways, it's a next door neighbor asking questions about Lori and her children. So this next door neighbor who had helped Lori moved in to her Rexburg townhome, asking about the children and that sort of thing. So November 21st of 2019, Lori's account or electronic device is logged into the classroom communication app from JJ's former school, Life Academy in Arizona. So a lot of people wondering why she's doing this. Well, pretty much, guys. I mean, she realizes by now, especially if neighbors are speaking with investigators, that especially, with Brandon and Mel, all these things going on, she's going to have to be smart. So November 24th, 2019, approximately around 1:16 to 1:20. I'm not positive on this one. This looks like it might fit actually in October. But anyways, this might have been an article that come out stating, they see Lori going in and out of the storage. So this is when things really start to, heat up really well. So November 25th of 2019, the Rexburg police say they are now contacting the Gilbert police after JJ's grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, requested a welfare check. So you can find this on the Affidavit of Probable Cause document, as well as you can look this up on an article on East Idaho News. Now, one of the big reporters that are on this right now his name is called Justin Lum, so make sure you check him out. And so, guys, I hit my limit. What we'll do is we'll pick up on November 26th of 2019 on part 12. We're still looking for those kids. There's just no sign of them. And a lot of people are wondering if the kids are still alive and this is not a big deal, then why in the world don't you say where they're at? Now, for those of you, you're going to be seeing Dateline tonight. And I believe that Melanie and Ian's going to be on there. And so I wanted to get this up before that come out so that you could see and compare what she says. There's just something about her that I don't trust. And I think Ian should probably, watch a little bit closer, because it's just something so shady. So, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you share those pictures of Tylee and JJ anywhere you can. And I want to send my love out to you guys. I know a lot of you are probably struggling financially and all kinds of stuff with this COVID going on. And I hope you guys can hang in there and do well. So anyways, guys, I will see you guys soon, okay? Bye-bye.